What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon and welcome back to the Life of Dave, where it's been a while since I've done a firearm video, but in this one I'll be showing you how to disassemble and then reassemble a Mossberg pump action shotgun. This one here is my Mossberg 500C. It's a 20 gauge, and what I love about Mossberg shotguns is that they are extremely inexpensive, they are reliable, and they are well made. There are also a lot of different accessories that you can find for these. They come in a good amount of different configurations from Mossberg as well. You can get them in 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 410 bore, stuff like that. So I don't think you can go wrong with them. But the only thing you really got to know how to do after that is shoot the damn thing and clean it up. So that's what I'll be showing you how to do here. Luckily, you don't even really need a whole lot of tools for this, because there's one pin here that you have to punch out that retains the fire control group, and then depending on which stock or grip you have, there's a bolt in the back. It's a 1/4 inch hex bolt. So we're gonna get my nice big Klein hex set here, and we might have to break a little bit of torque on it. There we go. I don't recommend using any Loctite on these at all. If you're having an issue with the bolt seems to be coming loose when you're using the gun, in any case, I'd say check the threads on the bolt. They are not captive. Keep that in mind, it will come out. And if you have to replace the bolt, luckily they're pretty standard. You can find these at Home Depot, auto parts stores, stuff like that. So we're gonna put that back into the pistol grip there. To punch out the pin here, it's gonna use this little cleaning jig. Oh, first and foremost, because you have to do this in a gun video, you're gonna make sure it's unloaded. No shells are in the tube. There's nothing chambered, and it's on safe. This way I don't get yelled at by the range safety fuds watching this video. In any case, you actually do have to have the pump back for a good portion of this disassembly. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna pop that pin out, easy peasy. The fire control group then rocks forward and comes on out. All of that is self-contained. I wouldn't recommend taking this whole thing apart to clean it. Get some cotton swabs, your CLP and all that. And there's some exposure here you can get into where you need to. Let the oil work its way in and should be all right. Now, on the inside of the action, make sure this camera is, I'm gonna have to zoom in a little bit here. All right, so inside of here, you've got to just move this slide forward a little bit. You're gonna pull these two parts out. They are not held in place by anything. So that one here, take a look at. Just a stamped piece of metal. A couple of keys for indexing it. Put that aside. And then on the other side of the receiver there, we've got this piece. See a little dimple there? That corresponds to that hole. All right, so we'll set that aside. Now what we have to do is remove the components inside of here. So we're gonna actuate the pump forward a little bit. That piece got jammed a little bit. There we go. And this piece will come loose. Then just bring it forward a little bit, and that pops on out. Set that aside. And we're going to remove the elevator for the shells. This brings them out of the mag tube and into the chamber. That is just another piece of metal under its own tension. A couple of dimples there that hold it in to these holes on each side. Set that over there, and then the bolt you can just grab, and you got to find the particular spot for it to pop it on out. There we go. So as you can see, this one is pretty rusty. This is how I got it. So I've been kind of letting a lot of lubricant sit in there so I can kind of clean it up. And then so many of these old gray t-shirts from Fruit of the Loom, I'll be just using to kind of wipe this down a little bit. So when you're cleaning this up, so you've got your firing pin going through there. You don't really have to remove it or anything, but maybe you can see it in the channel inside of there. You can get a cotton swab, some other stuff. to clean that up if you need to. So with a lot of corrosion that's on this, it's nice having the firing pin exposed to where I can get lubricant all in there to make sure it doesn't seize up. Now you can get a brush in there and stuff as well. I always like to make sure that these actuate. The springs are still nice and good. And so then these are the parts you've got out of there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you include the trigger control, fire control group, and the retaining pin. So now when you're working on it, now the pump is just freely able to move back and forth with its two arms. It can get jammed up. They have to go into the slot on one side over there. If you move, it'll get hung up. So if it does, it's going to take some pressure off of it. You can use your thumb and guide it in there. And so once you get done, brushing it up, cleaning it up, getting the barrel all swabbed out and everything, you're going to put it back together. So we're going to start with the bolt. I'm going to drop that in. Get that in place. All right. And I'm going to just make sure that's sitting inside of the breech, nice and even. There we go. Then what we're going to do is we're going to reinstall the elevator. And that again is just, it's on tension. You're going to squeeze it, place that in there, line it up with those holes. And there we go. Now what you got to do is take the pump and you have to put it in a specific spot to then reinsert this piece here, which is still having some corrosion work off of it with all the CLP I put on it, so that's nice. It's looking a lot better than it was before. So I'm going to drop that in, bring the bolt back a little bit because it does have to sit in the bolt. This piece here goes into the channel in that bolt. So we're going to drop that down. Bring the bolt back, and then the two little parts of the arms there are going to fit in that slot. And to make sure it's all back together nice, what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of pressure on all that and then just pull the pump grip back and forth to make sure it's all staying in place and it's all working together as it should. And then once you slide it forward, you can see if it'll lock. There we go. You bring it back, make sure it pulls up the elevator, and it does. All right, so now we're going to put that in this position about 1/3 of the way. We're going to reinsert the extractor. And that just sits in there. Actually, excuse me, not the extractor. That's the darn thing that holds the shells in the tube. My mistake. My apologies. Put one on one side and the other. With both of them, the claws facing inward. Again, one of them has a little dimple that fits in this hole. The other one doesn't. And they just kind of sit in there. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to pull nice and slowly so nothing falls out of place. We're going to pull the pump all the way forward until it's just about to lock. This piece is the biggest pain in the ass. It just, again, it doesn't have anything to hold it in there, so it just kind of sits in place. And then we're going to take the fire control group. We're going to insert the front of it first. There's a couple little notches that line up with a couple slots. Might have to take that piece and actually got to move this forward a little bit more. Got to move that carrier. There we go. Actually, yeah, we do got to put it to where it locks. Okay, that was my fault there. I have that backwards. So that's going to just sit in there. Oh, there we go. Like I said, these pieces that have nothing holding them in like to move around. It's a pain in the ass. But luckily also, if any of these were to break, the parts are super cheap and available on the interwebs, which is nice about these guns. So that is going to go in there. There we go. Just had to kind of move some of those parts of the side. You see that drops in there. We're going to line it up. We're going to make sure that pin goes all the way nice and through. There we go. Disengage the safety. That is working as it should be. All right. Now we're going to put the grip back on. Again, all that is a matter of seating it in place. I'm going to start by hand tightening the bolt a little bit. Make sure it doesn't cross thread or anything. Then we're going to take that Allen key. This thing is a bulky tool. Doesn't help my hand is all oily from this gun. All right, so once we get it snug, you just lay the gun down. We're not going to torque it in there too tight. There we go, that should be sufficient. Put that away. And there you have it. You now know how to disassemble and reassemble a Mossberg pump action shotgun. Hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Y'all have a great evening. Take it easy. Thank you for watching.